Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wine and Real Estate.
Oui, bonsoir tout le monde.
So tonight we're really excited. We have a great guest from, Northern Ontario, or investing in Northern Ontario. So Mr. Josh Stevenson, if you could tell us, give us an overview of what you've done and just what we were discussing there. You were a teacher, and a little bit about your background.
Yes, certainly. Thanks for having me on. It's exciting to be on your program. It looks like it's going to be a great time.
Thank you.
So for those of you who haven't heard of me before, my name is Josh Stevenson, and I have a company called Invest North, which I run with my wife and my business partner Brent and his wife, and they're both named Jessica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to make things super confusing. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, and then we can move from there. I am actually a retired school teacher. On November 27th of this month, it will have been a year that I've been retired. So that's yes, thank you very much. It's been a big moment, and I started off. I went to Carleton University. I know that you're broadcasting from Ottawa, so I'm familiar with the city. Love Ottawa, except for some of those minus 35 days. Yeah, those are tough. But, we put up with it because it's so gorgeous there. I went to Carleton University, and after I graduated from Carleton, I had some student debt. And I went over to South Korea, and I became an English teacher just to pay off some debt. And that kind of turned me into an English language teacher. And I worked abroad for many years in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, the Czech Republic, and Australia. I was teaching the Australians how to speak English. It didn't really work out, but no, I was actually working in Surfers Paradise, teaching mostly Japanese and Brazilian surfers how to speak English. So that was interesting too. And then I returned home after many years abroad, and I opened my own ESL school. I had some very good luck at the beginning, but ultimately we had the SARS epidemic hit Toronto, and that was challenging for business. And September 11th was also challenging. So my international students kind of vacated Toronto after the 1-2 punch of 9/11 and SARS. And I had to reinvent myself at age 30 after losing all my money. So I became a regular school teacher. I taught grade 8 for 15 years. And during that time, I was building a portfolio. So it started small. It started in Barrie, Ontario. I house hacked one. Then I moved to Orillia, which had cheaper prices. And I put together a 15-door portfolio. And then my friend he was working in the tar sands in Alberta. He moved home with some money, and he was interested. He'd been doing a bit of that in Alberta, and we joined forces, and we built a company called Invest North, and now we are up to 90 doors.
Wow.
We're up in Orillia, Sundridge, North Bay, Temiskaming Shores, New Liskeard, Cobalt, a little town called Rutherglen, and a few other places. So we deal mostly in the north. So in a nutshell, that's a bit of my story there.
Oh, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Excellent. And I heard you were drinking something earlier.
Oh, let's have a drink. I'll drink to all that.
Yeah, you must be parched.
I'll drink to 90 doors.
Yes, cheers. And retirement. And quitting good jobs. I mean, teaching can be a good job, but I mean, real estate is even better.
Oh, certainly. And you know what? I think a lot of the skills I learned as a teacher translate into the real estate world. I do manage all of the doors with Brent and our wives. Foolishly, I think most people, they get to this point and they're like, to hell with managing all these doors. But you have to be quite patient with a lot of your tenants, because as you know, some of them are going through things, and other people haven't hit that maturity level yet. Where
they could be 60 and they're still not mature. But anyway.
I know. So I mean, as a teacher of grade 8 students, you have to be super patient, and you have to not lose your cool. As a landlord, same. right? Sometimes I feel like I'm teaching grade 8s in just bigger bodies, right?
Fully grown.
Yeah. I want to put some of them in detention, but
Yeah.
yeah. But you know, so it was good getting that experience in the classroom, and but you know, at the end of the day, I had my fill of it. I had a really good career, and I did a lot of coaching, and I got to take kids on class trips even to Ottawa to the art galleries and the Mint and all kinds of things, and the market. But after 15 years, I thought, hey, what the heck? Let's switch gears and do something else. So now here I am as a real estate investor, and I'm loving life.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did you kind of go from, like you kind of said you switched gears, but what made you kind of think of getting into real estate when you were teaching?
Well, I read a statistic once, like it said something like 90%. I can't remember if it's 70 or 90. I think it might have been as high as 90. 90% of all millionaires are made from real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought, holy cow, like that's a pretty alarming statistic. And how did I not know this in the first place?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
exactly. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Shut this computer off. Yeah. So basically, I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. I did have that English language school. You know, I was the director of a English language school in Europe for years. So I always kind of liked being in charge of my own destiny. Real estate is such a creative pursuit. You can take it in so many different directions, right? Like you can do Airbnb, or you can buy and hold, or you can BRRRR, and you get to meet so many interesting people. If you start going to these meetups, or even what we're doing right now, you meet the most interesting people. So it's turned into a really cool community that I think has just kind of exploded in the last few years. And I think you meet so many like-minded kind of entrepreneurial people that once you start doing that, you'd never want to go back to kind of a more conventional life. And the lifestyle that this affords you is absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, I get to go to all my kids' sports games, and I get to take a vacation that's not at Christmas or the March break where every other teacher and kid has to pay double the price. And you get a little bit more money with real estate investing to go to the places you want to go, to buy the things that you want to buy if you're successful enough. And that doesn't happen right off the bat, of course.
No.
But I mean, it's just it really opens up so many doors. And I would never want to kind of go back to my old conventional life, having lived this life.
Yeah, how could you? That would be really hard. But how did you get started? That's a question we get all the time. How do you go from one house or no house? And you mentioned as well, you kind of lost everything after your language school and all that, and you had to reinvent yourself. Sorry. So how do you rebuild from that? Like at 30, I think I heard. So
yeah, that's when I lost all my money.
Well, that's hard, but it's doable. So what did you do? What was your first step?
So basically, I discovered a book, and it was called Building Wealth One House at a Time by Charles W. Schwab. And I was in a library, and I was walking down the aisle, and sometimes I just go to the library, and you just walk down the aisles, and you pick up books that look like they're of interest to you.
Yeah.
And I had never even considered real estate investing, and I picked up this book. And this is at the time I just had my first child, and I thought, holy crap, I have to grow up and provide something for this family.
Yeah, I gotta be an adult.
Nothing motivates you like kids, right? Like you know, like when you're single and unmarried, you can do whatever the hell you want. But the minute you have kids, you feel like, holy cow, I better provide something for this kid. You know, I'm basically it. So. Yeah, I read this book, and I learned a whole bunch of different things. Most people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which came later, and I read Don Campbell's books and stuff. But that book really got me kickstarted. So the minute I read that, I took it home to my wife, and I said, Jessica, we have to. I know we can't really afford a house, but if we borrow a bit of money, we can house hack and we can buy a duplex and live in half and rent the other half out.
Mm.
And I was just a teacher starting out. I think I was making like $44,000 a year, like just beginner's teacher salary. Jessica was staying home with the kids, but we managed to. We borrowed a bit of money from my family, and that got us our first house. And we house hacked that, and we actually lived in the smaller portion of the duplex, and we rented out the bigger one to maximize on cash, right?
Why not?
And then that bloody thing, that was like 14 years ago. We bought it for $270. Within about 2 years, it was worth $425. We took the equity. We went to Orillia, Ontario, and at the time in Orillia, Ontario, like 13 years ago, you could buy. I bought a fourplex for $200,000.
Oh my goodness!
I bought another duplex for $180,000, and I bought five buildings that were all around that price range, and they all exploded with equity. So I just kept taking the equity and investing it in more and more houses. And then the Orillia market got so expensive, and those, those fourplexes and triplexes and duplexes that I used to buy around the $200,000 mark are now worth $600,000. So they literally tripled in value. So I didn't like the prices that I was seeing in Orillia. So I took out a map, and this is around when my friend came back from the tar sands, and I said, hey man, I know you got a couple properties, I had some properties. Let's take a look over the map. What's the next biggest city up the road? And we didn't consider Muskoka. I have a cottage there. I know everything's like, it's the playground of the rich and famous. And the next major city was North Bay with a population of 53,000. And we dumped a lot of equity there. And we were buying buildings up there. I bought a single family home for $115,000. We were buying duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes again for just $250,000, $270,000. And then what happened in North Bay? The bloody thing blew up again.
Yeah.
And now we saw like a 45% increase in North Bay. So I don't know. I must have done some good things in my previous life because I'm always in the right place at the right time. Yeah.
You're buying ahead of the trend, and that's the most important thing to do. If you're buying in a saturated, overpriced market, I mean, there's still ways to make money, but it's not nearly as good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you the third part to that story. When the North Bay market started to increase in value by 50%, we took out the map again, right? What's up the road? And there are three towns that side by each. There's Cobalt, Temiskaming Shores, and New Liskeard. They call it the Tri-Town area, which is an hour and a half north of North Bay, which is about 3.5 hours from me right now. And they were selling stuff. I bought a duplex for $70,000. I bought a fourplex for $129,000. I bought another fourplex for $189,000. We just bought another one, a really dilapidated duplex for $97,000. So I mean, we'll be in the Arctic Circle soon, but we keep moving north.
Or around the Earth. Like what's next? Like you go to China.
That's it. We'll be in Siberia before you know it.
That's it.
Yeah, so that's basically the key. Like we kept taking equity and finding these new markets where things were cheap. We got pretty innovative. We started dealing with credit unions rather than banks because at a certain point you get to a total number of doors, and the big credit unions, the big 5 national banks, they say, hey man, we don't want to deal with you anymore. You're too risky. So we started dealing with credit unions. We incorporated, and because we had a whole bunch of doors by then, the credit union said, hey, listen, if you guys find a building that you want to buy and the seller lends you the 20% down payment, we will front you the 80% mortgage. So we did 6 no money down deals. So that really accelerated our growth as well. And it was because we had those previous doors, right? We had those doors in North Bay. We had those
collateral.
In Orillia. Yeah. And the credit unions liked us, and they thought that we were a pretty safe bet. And those no money down deals kind of put us over the top, and that really allowed us all to retire. So I'm retired. well, let's say semi-retired, right? My wife is
still working.
semi-retired. Yeah, exactly. And she retired. She became an author. She just published her first book.
Wow.
Where is it? There it is. What You Never Knew. Go and get it on Amazon or Indigo or whatever. So this is a murder mystery. So my wife got to become an author, which was a lifelong dream of hers. My business partner got to stop being a contractor. He didn't like that so much. He's still a contractor for us. And his wife worked for the cooperators, the insurers.
Okay.
And she got to quit her job too. So now we just run this business, and it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, cheers.
Absolutely.
Let's drink more.
That's great.
So let's talk about the wine we're drinking, Jennifer, and then you can tell us about what you're drinking.
So we're drinking a wine. It's from Côte du Rhône.
So it's French.
It's I never know which way to do it.
Nice.
It's actually one of our partners that gave it to us when we were in Toronto. We got to.
So John, if you're listening,
yes, thank you for the good wine.
Yes,
there you go.
Mostly,
yes. What are you drinking, Josh?
This one's called Bread and Butter, and it was just the first one I grabbed out of the cabinet. My wife likes it. I don't know too much about it. I wish I had brought the bottle up here. I didn't know we were going to be discussing.
That's okay.
Bread and Butter. It's a nice light wine, a light red. Quite nice. We also drink. What do we drink? A wine called Josh. Actually, my name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, a wine called Josh. That's quite a nice one we've been drinking lately. And now we drink nicer wine. Like I remember in our 20s, we just like, okay, what's the $7-9 wine? And now thanks to real estate, we're drinking nicer wine. So that's another tip your hat to that, right?
So talking about bread and butter.
Yes.
So what's kind of your bread and butter? Like you seem to talk about single families, duplexes, fourplexes. Are you kind of just buying anything, or are you more specific in what you're looking for?
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you the two things that have kind of been the guide that we use, or basically the criterion that we use. So first of all, most people know in our industry know about the 1% rule, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The 1% rule says that the rents that a building brings in should be 1% of the total purchase price, right? Yeah, so so that's a quick and dirty way of looking at a property, see if it's worth your while. The other thing that we generally want is a 20% cash on cash return. Okay. Just on cash flow. So if we invest, $100,000 in a project, a real estate project, we want at least $20,000 to come in cash flow in the first year. So and we're not talking about appreciation. We're not talking about mortgage pay down. So we have very strict criterion in terms of what we look for our cash flow and the 1% rule. We don't want to pay too much for our buildings. Now, we've actually gotten better deals in the 1% rule. We've had stuff that closed in on the 2% rule. And we've had stuff that just comes in under the 1% rule. But those are buildings with lots of room for growth. So sometimes you have a building that is underperforming. So you have, in North Bay, you'll have rents that are like $750 or $800. One bedroom apartments are going for, $1,200, $1,300 up there. In Orillia, the average price for a one bedroom is $1,600.
Wow.
So, no, it's nuts. It's crazy. So sometimes we look at a building and we will take a bit of a hit. We will compromise the 1% rule if we see a lot of room for growth. Yeah. On the rents. So we turn away lots and lots of offers. We look at tons of buildings. We bid on lots of buildings, but we bid at the price that we feel the building's worth. So, we lose out on a lot of buildings, but we also, we are very successful on some of them. So, I mean, don't be afraid to, like, if you have like a building you like, we'll write up 3 different offers. We'll say, okay, we'll give you purchase price with very few conditions. We'll also give you an offer that has a VTB. You might want to lend us 20% of the purchase price because you're going to save on your capital gains, and you're also going to be paid that 20% over a 5-year period with 5% interest. So you're going to end up making more than the purchase price, right? Because of all that interest. And then we might give them a third offer as well with a different variation, like maybe instead of a 20% VTB, we might say we want a 10% VTB, and we will give you 10% of the down payment. So I mean, if you give them 3 different offers, like our realtors don't always like that because
no.
but do you want to do business with us? We do a lot of business. So
that's it.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to hit them up with 3 different offers. And sometimes if you can negotiate with your realtor, or we do deals where I am the realtor. I don't have a real estate license, but we do off-market deals where there is no realtor. If you're able to get face-to-face with these people, you can see, are they receptive to a vendor take-back mortgage?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, don't be afraid to pitch them 3 different versions for the same building or the same house, you know?
And that's so smart because you don't know what the seller needs. Some sellers are selling for very, very different reasons. Like
right.
Sometimes it's not just money. Their health is declining. They
100%.
want out. There's a divorce. Yeah. There's so many things going on. So this is really smart with these 3 offers that might give you some insight into what they're doing and what they're up to.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you're exactly right. Like we've had, unfortunately, you know, we bought recently a big 6-plex from a guy who was in a horrible accident.
No.
He lost both of his legs, and he used to be like the on-site manager, and he owned the building, and he wasn't mobile enough to be the building manager, and he had no desire to be in that position anymore. So he sold the building, but he also wanted his tenants to be taken care of. His mother lived in that building, so they wanted a professional landlord that was going to be kind to the tenants and take care of all the issues. So they saw that we've been in the business for a long time. So that was like being in the right place at the right time. And he gave us a big VTB. It was $800,000. He lent us $160,000.
Wow.
So we got this big 6-plex for free, basically. We paid the closing costs, and that thing cash flows $2,900 a month after everything's said and done. So we're pretty stoked about that.
Congrats, because you created a win-win solution. So you're taking care of his mother, his need for money as well, and the VTB does help. He's still getting some income from the property and helping him. So it's all about creating those solutions. I just love hearing that.
And he chose the price. And actually, I'll tell you, I just got back from North Bay, and we just we're talking to a fella who has a number of properties. I think he's in his 60s now, and he wants to slowly unload all of his income properties.
Excellent.
And he knows about us because we're kind of a name up in the North Bay area. So you know, I contacted him. I just heard through some friends, some contractors that work for him, that he's getting sick of being a landlord. He's been doing it for 45 years. Wow. And I just called him up and I said, hey man, do you want to talk about offloading some of these properties? Like we could do it piece by piece. You could sell them all at once. And this guy is not interested in putting it on the open market, because, you know, when you put a multifamily building on the open market these days, you get like 30 people through there. Like it's just basically showing after showing after showing, and you're inconveniencing your tenants. This guy's got so many doors. I don't think he's not gonna try and bleed every last cent out of every building. He just wants a smooth transition to retirement, and he wants his tenants to be taken care of again. So again, we're in the right place at the right time with the right tool set, the right level of expertise. So we're happy about that.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that there's the landlords that are worried about their tenants, and they want to kind of pass the properties on to other people who are going to take care of their tenants. That's nice.
And it doesn't happen all the time, but it does. Yeah, that's right.
No, Jennifer's been getting phone calls from Acorn, as you may know Acorn, but there are good landlords out there, just like you guys. Like you're really taking care of people and helping them. And that's what we believe as well, is building a nice relationship and You don't know what the tenants are going through and why they're renting. But you mentioned something very interesting earlier, is your profile. So you have a reputation in North Bay. So how do you build that reputation? Because I think that's very important. A lot of people miss that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, you got to kind of get your name out there. So we work with, we do have one or two realtors that do the majority of our deals, but we also put our name out there to mortgage brokers. We say, hey, listen, I bought houses through mortgage brokers before. Like this one woman called me up and said, I have a client that needs to be out east taking care of her ailing mother next month. Like we need a fast close, and I need somebody that, you know, can just get this done right away. So that mortgage broker got me a really fair deal. We also deal with, you know, just people in the industry. We're talking about contractors. Every time I have anybody work for me, and I'm talking about somebody who cleans my carpets, like a steam cleaner. Today I had somebody vacuuming out the ducts, like the duct person. And every time I just, hey, here's my business card. If you know anybody who wants to sell a property, give me a call. I'll give you a fair deal. I usually say, hey, well, you know, just tell me your number. Tell me your number, and I'll know. I'll know within, you know, probably 45 seconds if it's worth talking about more, right? So I mean, cast a wide net. So it's you know, real estate agents, it's real estate lawyers, it's mortgage brokers, it's tradespeople, it's carpenters, it's cleaners, it's people that you are standing in line with at the supermarket. You know, so I'm pretty extroverted, so I'll talk to anybody, and usually the conversation will end up at real estate, right? Like, oh, so where are you living? Do you rent? Do you own? Where are the good neighborhoods around here? So I mean, the more, you know, my children always say, oh my God, Dad, it's so embarrassing to go out with you. You're like Crocodile Dundee. You have to talk to everybody in town, right? But you know, that approach and that extroverted kind of way of being has really helped me cast that wide net in different communities. And once they know about you, the word travels, and a lot of people don't want to put their property up on MLS, you know, whether they're ashamed of the way that they've let the place go, or they don't want the high pressure sales, or they, you know, so I mean, you'd be surprised how many people don't want to put it on MLS.
Yeah, it is surprising because there is a certain stress that comes with it's a big transaction. Yeah,
it is. And I don't know. I think a lot of people are apprehensive because the cost of real estate is so high now. You know, it's very involved when you sell your house, and it could be overwhelming for some people that don't do a lot of deals. And you know, maybe you know, if you are basically attentive to their needs, and you seem like a kind of a compassionate person that's not going to be too pushy, you let them dictate the term. You know, I've had 8-month closings. I say, you know, just call me when you're ready. And I don't care. 8 months. The deal's going to close in 8 months. Like, yeah, it's a bit annoying waiting that long, but you can do stuff in the meantime too. So, I mean, you know, you just try not to be too pushy and be friendly, and it usually works out.
And the property's appreciating while you're doing nothing, depending on the market.
Yeah,
it could be worth double when you're done. So this is crazy.
No, so, like that $800,000 sixplex. That was the 8-month closing I was talking about. The guy that lost his leg.
Oh,
and yeah. We agreed on the $800,000. I feel like by the time that bloody thing closed, we were in $1 million territory. You know, like in terms of appreciation. So, and it's even increased since then. So, patience is a virtue.
Yes.
Yeah, that's certainly true. So what's next for Invest North? Are you guys going to be pulling out the map again soon? Or are you going to be in Quebec?
Yeah. Let's drink to that.
Yes.
I've pondered that question so much lately. And, you know, my business partner, Brent, and I, we've talked about different things. Like we've coached a bunch of people. Like my nephew, for example, he's 26 and now he's on his seventh house.
Wow.
At age 26. Yeah, he has 5 houses in North Bay, and he has 2 houses in what is that town up that Bob Azumi used
Bob
to
Cajun or
no, it's way up. It'll come to me anyway. He has 2 houses quite north on the way to Sault Ste. Marie, and we've helped him grow, and I think that's maybe a direction. I don't know. Like, I've never been paid to coach. That is maybe on the table, because once I started doing Elliott Lake. Sorry, he has 2 houses in Elliott Lake up there. So I knew it would come to me. I do have a lot of people approach me now, and I think you can only give away so much free advice, and then all your time.
Yeah, your time is valuable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought I'm never gonna coach for money, but who knows? Maybe either that, or I'm just gonna turn my phone off permanently. Yeah, that might be an avenue, but I think, to be honest, we're just gonna continue. Like, we're knocking on the door of 100 doors. So we're at 90 now. We've probably got about 5 more tied up. So that was always a goal for me, like, to get 100 doors. And I thought I'd be well into my 50s by the time I did that, but here I am at 48, and we've already achieved that. So it's amazing what can happen when you put your mind to it, and you just keep driving forward. So I think reaching 100 doors would be good. Maybe get into more apartment buildings. Maybe sell off a few pieces and buy some bigger stuff, everything under one roof. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about people that have syndicated and gone to, like, the apartment building kind of phase. So that's interesting too. We talked about maybe delving into the United States. I know property investors that have gone to the United States. A lot of people have gone to Alberta because of the landlord-friendly rules out there. New Brunswick has got very good prices too. So maybe head out of province at some point. But to be honest, I think we'll just keep going on this trajectory. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
No, that's it.
Yeah, so I think we'll just keep doing what we're doing, trying to find things that cash flow really well, and then maybe in the next couple of years trade up to apartment buildings. That's about it.
Yeah, there's huge economies of scale when you go bigger. A duplex is, I find, almost as much work as a 6 or 12 plex, really.
Yeah, I agree. And the big thing is probably putting things to property management. Like, so many people, there's the old saying, you should stop working in your business and you start working on your business.
Yes.
And because there's 4 of us, we've been able to do both. But at this point, I think everybody's had their fill of getting phone calls in the middle of the night about, the neighbors being too loud, or, a leaky toilet at Sunday dinner, So I think we're going to pass it off to property management, and that'll free up time. Like, that'll give you time to strategize and plan your next move. So that's next route.
Amazing what you'll see. It's an eye opener when you delegate things and grow. It helps you scale. So, wow, this is such an inspiring story. 90 doors and 95 very, very shortly. So
he can't start at 95. He has to get to at least 100.
Get 100. Good night.
I know. And some people said, I went out to dinner with an investor couple the other night. They took me out to dinner just to pick my brain. And they said, well, how much is enough? And to be honest, we live comfortably, but I mean, competitive people or ambitious people, we just keep moving ahead, and it's not always about the money. It's about helping others, and if you put yourself in a good financial situation, you can help so many other people. You can start a charity, or you can be philanthropic. You can give money to worthy causes. And mostly help the people in your life that need it, right?
Your circle of influence is right next to you, your family, your neighbors, your friends, your work colleagues, but you don't work anymore. but your tenants can be helped as well, like providing them with good housing and fair rules and things. That's huge. So Wow.
Yeah. So that's the rewarding thing. I think the most rewarding thing is, just like being in a position where you can actually help people. Because for so many years, I struggled with money. Like, I think all young people, you start out with very little, and you can't even picture that day where you're going to be financially successful or independent. And then when it does happen, you feel like, damn, well, maybe I can help somebody else do it, And I think what you do is great because you're getting the word out. Like how many people are going to be in a better position listening to the information that comes in through your podcast? So good for you guys.
Thank you. No, we love it. It's a great way of teaching. Maybe that's something for you to explore. You mentioned coaching and all that, but you're a teacher, so you could teach, like have a kind of a master class or something where you help a group of people and then make it more valuable. And
it can be the Invest North School.
Yes, I love it. Open your map and keep going up.
Yeah, right. That's right. Well, I did want to give myself a little breather, like, having started teaching at 22, I thought, now I'm coming up on a year now. So, you know what? There's this little itch, like maybe I want to get back into it. Yeah. So
even part-time teaching adults, it's very different too. And maybe an hour a week. It doesn't have to be a huge commitment, like 40 hours, but.
That's right. You don't have to threaten them with detention as much either.
No, that's it. Don't do your homework too bad.
Just give them lots of homework and then they won't talk to you.
Exactly. So, we'll see. And even my business partner, who I never thought would say that he would maybe get into a bit of teaching or coaching, he might do it too. So, we're leaving that door open for sure.
Excellent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So any last words of advice or that you'd encouragement that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I would say, like, when I finished university, I finished with an environmental degree, but there weren't a lot of jobs around, and I had some debt. So I went to where the work was. So I went to South Korea and I became an English teacher. And when I was starting off in my investment career, like we lived abroad, and then we lived 7 years in Toronto. But I knew that I couldn't get into, the income property game in Toronto because at the time things were going for like $500,000. Now things are going well over $1 million.
Yeah.
But that was, 15 years ago. So I went to where the prices were cheaper, right? So for your audience, the people that are thinking, holy cow, how am I ever going to get my foot in the door in this bloody competitive market? I would recommend that you go to a market that is more affordable. So it takes, maybe a drive up there, meet some people, meet some real estate agents, meet some mortgage brokers, meet some people in the industry, or even people like me that will help you along. And then maybe, your $100,000 is not going to do much in Southern Ontario, but your $100,000 is certainly going to go a long way, up the road where things are significantly cheaper. So Timmins is a good market for young people. Sault Ste. Marie, Elliott Lake, which I also mentioned. North Bay is getting a bit more competitive, but there are deals. So, don't just stick to your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone, whether it be east, west, north, or south. There are opportunities out there. So go to where the market is going to not be prohibitive. So that would be my advice to your listeners.
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
Excellent advice.
Mm-hmm. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, Josh, and maybe...
And you want to answer or not?
And get some coaching, or if you want to not answer, that's okay. But how can they get a hold of you?
I made myself sound like a snob. I will answer. I will answer the phone. So basically, what I would do is get my Instagram account's a good one. It's investnorth.ca. We also have a YouTube channel called Adventures in Landlording. We got to try and put a few more videos up. My business partner kind of looks at the dark underbelly of income property investing, and his Instagram account is "You Forgot Your Stuff," and it's basically and that one's funny. It's basically all the stuff people leave behind or the messes we clean up, because that's the other side of it too, right? So there's the dark underbelly, and that's more of my business partner's personality. He's hilarious, so that you might get a kick out of that too.
Yes.
We have a website, investnorth.ca, but I'll tell your listeners, I will answer my phone for the next little while. So, hit me up for some free advice while it lasts.
Or just follow, like you said, on social media. I really like your feed on Instagram. It's really cool the way it's designed. It looks kind of like a cartoon. Like some of the bubbles and
I
stuff.
want to see that you forgot your stuff one, though.
That one, we need to see that.
Yeah, you forgot your stuff. Yeah. Take it with a grain of salt, but it's pretty funny too. Like that's and you know what? If you really think you want to get into income property investing, check that out, because that's the other side of it.
Yeah, that's true. We could have asked you for a good horror story, but
oh God, just go to this guy's Instagram account. You'll get it.
You'll have plenty.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you so much, Josh, for sharing with us and for sharing with the listeners.
It was a pleasure. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
For sure.
To $100.
Yeah,
$100.
That was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, do you know what? I'll hit you up with a text or a call as soon as we hit that $100. We're gonna have a big celebration here. If you're in the neighborhood, come on over for some free beer and wine.
There you go. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah. Take care.